Crypto Trapper with another video today. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone's family is blessed. Happy New Year. Hope everyone made it to 2023 because a lot of people didn't make it to 2023. I know it says on the article October the 13th, 2022. And we're in 2023. You're probably thinking, why do I want to hear this? This is key information I'm gonna read out in this article, and let's get into this. So cross-border demands banks get ready for clearing 2.0. As real-time payments networks operate across the globe, FedNow in the US and Faster Payments in the UK, to name just two examples, those two still needed to communicate with one another as payments cross borders. Data needs to flow in real time across currencies and time zones. It's funny enough they basically named two of the largest leaders, or not largest leaders, but UK and America have got a close relationship, and their economies are quite strong. Well, currently, so yeah. But let's get into this anyway. Continue, and no matter the transaction size or the sender and recipient, commercial or customer, banks will still be the trusted intermediaries to make it all happen. Of course, banks always want their cut. You know how it goes. Forgive me if I butcher this name. Sha'an Shurkazan Group Chief Markets Officer at the Bank of London told Kevin Webster that the current that the recent announcement RTP initiative being piloted by the clearinghouse TCH, not THC. Must be thinking I'm high now, but anyway, EBA clearing and SWIFT would help further shape how clearing banks operate as real-time payment systems change money movement itself. The pilot, the he said with the in-place support of 25 banks is a further accelerant to what we call Clearing 2.0 and shows what banks can do to be more efficient, clearing the path for money movement. Clearing banks have been a mainstay in cross-border transactions, are needed to approve transactions that flow between accounts associated with various banking networks. They where where say a company with an account via Citic in one country transacts with another firm, Chase, another account in another country. So they can't basically those two banks can't really connect as smoothly as they wanted to, basically. But anyway, let me continue. As funds are credited and debited, these clearing banks make sure that funds in the payer's account are able to cover the transaction on our checks as they are drawn and sent. Traditionally, these banks have had to capture money held in reserve to make sure that the transactions are complete. The RTP pilot and faster real-time transactions in general, he said, increases the efficiency of these reserves. If the stated goal, as Russ Waterhouse, EVP of TCH, said recently, is to make cross-border real-time transactions as simple as domestic real-time payments. It's important for there to be instant assurance that the sender has funds available to cover the transaction as counterparty banks communicate with one another. If you look at this as one point to point real time movement of money, what they're really doing is streamlining the messaging, said Shurikan. Let me pronounce that again. Let me try again. Shurikisan. And this makes transactions safer and faster. So obviously, if you don't know, last year in November, some some banks or some institutions went into using ISO 2022. So that basically makes it just more easier to connect message, so the banks can message each other and you know so forth and so on. But please do your own research if you don't know about it. But let me continue into the article. So of course a pivot sorry, of course a pilot from the way things have always been done will take some time. Shirk has noted that there might be some technical heavy lifting necessary to combat the frictions inherent in legacy systems and manual processes. Shurkan said there are enough tailwinds in place to spur banks to more fully embrace real-time cross-border transactions. Regulators are synchronizing to agree on compliance and messaging, ISO 2022, and regulations. As they say, regulators are syncing to agree on compliance and messaging. So the messaging, as I said before, November last year, 2022, they should have put in some. I think they went live or they made some delayed it. I need to double check again for the ISO 2022. But the compliance, the regulation, I think we're gonna see more regulation in 2023. So obviously certain countries are doing better than others, but yeah. And overall, the main countries, I think we're gonna see more in 2023. But let me continue. The transaction dollar limits are being raised in many corridors, which will boost transaction volume. Security and top of mind, flexibility too. One key area that needs to be addressed, said Shurikisan, lies with Know Your Customer KYC and anti-money laundering AML. After all, he said faster payments can pave the way for faster fraud. Banks will need to examine whether their fraud detection and prevention systems are caught up with RTP. The Clearing Bank 2.0 also must be flexible enough to embrace the emergence of new point-to-point global networks such as Ripple and XRP to settle in whatever currency stakeholders demand. I'm going to read that bit again because a lot of people, I forgot. Not, I don't. Anyway, let me just read it again. I don't think a lot of people are taking in this article. And the Clearing 2.0 banks also must be flexible enough to embrace the emergence of new point-to-point global networks such as Ripple and XRP. And as we know, they've got the case going on. I believe, of just my opinion, there'll be a settlement or the case will be finished in March. But definitely my personal opinion is gonna end this year. But I personally think it's gonna end in March, sometime around March, should I say? But let me continue to this. So Ripple and XRP, and to settle in whatever currency stakeholders demand. As clearing bank, you must need the ability to work with whatever roles come in as fast as they can move money, he said. One key advantage throughout cross-border commerce as RTP networks communicate and operate interoperable, interoperate, wait, interoperable interoperate is that the cost of the transfers will decline as transparency and security improve. As parties transact in real time, they won't be as exposed to FX risks, he added. As we look at clearing 2.0, he said, from a banking perspective, it's full stream ahead and the stars are aligning. It's funny enough, he said the stars are aligning. Everything's coming together. So yeah, it's your boy Crypto Trapper. Let me know what you think of this article. Let me know what do you think of how I did it. You don't like it, just let me know in the comment section. It's your boy Crypto Trapper and I'm out.